No matter where you live in the world, there is a good chance that a video game was set somewhere nearby. Do you know the best game set in your neighborhood? Well, come and explore with us to find out. In this video, we'll be talking about games set in Tokyo. Formerly called Edo, Tokyo is the capital and largest city of Japan. Its metropolitan area is the largest and most populous in the world, with an estimated 37 million residents in an area of 13,000 square kilometers. Tokyo is the political and economic capital of the country, as well as the seat of the Emperor of Japan and the national government. It is one of the safest countries in the world, and it might look like a concrete jungle, but it is 52% parks and nature and has an astonishing 1,450 shrines. As any city, Tokyo has its light and dark side, and video games try to capture Tokyo's unique atmosphere, so let's find out which games did that the best. Okay, so let's start with games that have Tokyo in the title. Game number 1, Tokyo Jungle, is a survival action game originally released for PS3 in 2012. The game takes place in a deserted, futuristic Tokyo in which the city has transformed into a wasteland full of vicious wildlife. The game offers unique gameplay centered around various animals. Tokyo is divided into small districts, and if you can mark a territory as yours, you can find a mate and breed there, whereupon you're reborn as a new generation. Eventually, the player will discover the truth behind humankind's disappearance. There is also a multiplayer mode where you fight against each other as different animals. Well, in that game, you can't really enjoy today's Tokyo very much, so let's change that and go on to game number 2, Tokyo Ghostwire, an action-adventure game played from a first-person perspective released in 2022 for PC, PS4, and PS5. The player can use various psychic and paranormal abilities to defeat the ghosts and spirits haunting Tokyo. You are going to explore a unique version of Tokyo twisted by a supernatural presence. From its ultra-modern cityscape to the traditional temples and narrow alleys, discover a hauntingly beautiful city teeming with yokai, vengeful spirits that prowl the streets. You're going to see iconic landmarks like Shibuya Crossing and Tokyo Tower, stunningly rendered with incredible detail and built to take advantage of next-generation technology. Game number 3, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, an RPG developed by Atlus originally for Nintendo Wii U and released in 2015. Taking place in modern-day Tokyo and featuring real-life locations such as Shibuya and Harajuku, the game centers around hostile beings known as Mirages, who seek to harvest energy known as Performa from humans. The story follows a group of teenagers who become allied with friendly Mirages based on characters from the Fire Emblem series, and merge with them to become Mirage Masters. Under the guise of a Fortuna Entertainment talent agency, the Mirage Masters fight to protect innocent people from the Mirages and find out who is behind the attacks. So maybe the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Tokyo, thanks to so many movies, is the Japanese mafia. So let's move on to game number 4, the Yakuza series. With over 10 entries, the Yakuza games offer a chance to be a gangster in Tokyo, but with some games more than others, as they also take you to other Japanese cities. So let's take Yakuza Like a Dragon from 2020, released on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. In this game, you become a low-ranking Yakuza family in Tokyo, left on the brink of death by the man he trusted most. So you take up your legendary bat, crack some underworld skulls, and dynamic RPG combat set against the backdrop of modern-day Japan. Even though you spend most of your time in Yokohama, there are also sections in Tokyo, such as the district called Kamurocho, which is modeled after Kabukicho, the real-life entertainment and red light district of Tokyo. Okay, so far you've noticed that all the games so far, even Ghostwire Tokyo, were made by Japanese studios, and that's not going to change because we're moving on to game number 5, Persona. This is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei manga series and was released in 2016 on PlayStation 3, made again by Atlus. The story focuses on the 16-year-old protagonist after he transferred to Shunjin Academy in Tokyo. You can explore various locations in the greater Tokyo area using the subway system, including Shibuya, Shinjuku, or Kichijoji. This is an RPG with a turn-based battle system where you spend most of your time in the shoes of high school students. Now we should probably also include the Shin Megami Tensei games in the list, but since we already mentioned its spin-off, let's make space for some other games. Game number 6, Sakura Wars. We are going to talk about an entry for PlayStation 4 from 2019. The game takes place in a fictionalized version of the Taisho period in 1940, where the World Luxury Operatic Federation fights against those who threaten peace around the world. Naval Captain Seijuro Kamiyama is transferred to Tokyo, where he must lead the struggling Imperial Combat Review through a worldwide tournament of combat reviews and fight the demons once again. The player explores a fully 3D version of Ginza, Tokyo, usually through a third-person perspective, on foot, and talks to various characters to trigger main story events and side objectives. Okay, we've talked about some games set in a past Tokyo, so it's only fair to talk about some games set in a future version of the city as well. Game number 7, Binary Domain. Set in a futuristic Tokyo, you are going to fight against robots who are trying to take control of everything. You can experience dual-layered Tokyo with a run-down and derelict lower city and a clean and affluent upper city. This is a third-person shooter for older generation consoles and PC, released back in 2012. Game number 8, Akiba's Beat. Another game from a series. This one was released in 2017 for both PS4 and Vita. This game takes place in Akihabara and stars protagonist Asahi Tachibana, living a regular life after deciding to drop out of college. The game plays as an action RPG, with battles initiated once the player moves the playable character onto an enemy character, sending the combatants to a separate battle screen. Game number 9, Jet Set Radio. Originally published for Dreamcast in the year 2000, you control a member of a youth gang, the GGs, as they use inline skates to traverse Tokyo, spraying graffiti, challenging rival gangs, and evading authorities. The environments were based on the Tokyo shopping districts in Shibuya and Shinjuku. Game number 10, Stein Gate, is a non-linear visual novel set in Akihabara as the main location, but with pictures rather than a 3D model of it. There are so many visual novels set in Tokyo, but this is one of the more famous and also well presented. That's our list, but of course there are so many more great games set in Tokyo. Is there any game that you think we should have included? We might have forgotten about it or never heard of it, so we hope that you'll tell us in the comments, as well as the city that you want us to cover next. This video series is much more in your hands than you might realize, since we make each video based on the interest of our viewers. Thank you for watching, and check back to see if the next city we cover will be yours.